Welcome back to Ozarks Fox AM. It's Wednesday, which means we get to visit with our friend Michael Babcock at TMZ to get the scoop on today's hottest stories. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we love having you here. And your kitty, what's the name? Because I didn't get to meet her last week.
This is Olive, who is also here with us this morning.
Yes. Welcome, Olive. That's nice.
I love it. Our viewers love it too, Michael. Yeah, our viewers love it.
They love animals, so this is good. What's in the news?
Awesome. Kanye West. Kanye West is in the news. It seems like over the last 2 weeks, every day there was a new alarming Kanye West story. And, you know, I'm sure people kind of aware of what's going on, but just a short recap of over the last 2 weeks since Kanye West has announced that he is going to run for president, people who are closest to him, I'm talking about his wife, Kim Kardashian, the Kardashian family, and his really close, tight-knit group of friends have been very concerned about him. Kanye West has bipolar disorder. This is something that he has publicly, openly talked about. And he has also talked about the fact that he does not like taking his medication because he feels that it dulls his creativity. And let's face it, Kanye West is one of the most creative people out there. He doesn't like taking the medication, so he is not taking it. And as a result of that and some of his recent behavior, people around him are legitimately worried about him. So he now runs for president, has this campaign event on Sunday, says some really private things about his relationship with Kim Kardashian, and talked about the fact that him and Kim discussed having an abortion before they had North, things that Kim did not authorize Kanye to reveal about their personal life. So Kim actually tried to have Kanye admitted into a psychiatric hospital on Sunday and Monday. So that's where we stand. So yesterday, Dave Chappelle, who is a good friend of Kanye's, was so worried after what happened with Kim, trying to get him in the hospital, after this epic Twitter meltdown that Kanye had on Monday night, and people were really worried about him. So Dave Chappelle actually got on an airplane and flew over to Kanye's ranch in Cody, Wyoming, and spent the day with him yesterday to make sure that he was okay. Now, look, people are still very worried about Kanye West, but at least he had a friend in Dave Chappelle with him yesterday to keep an eye on him. And I would say, having been watching all of this unfold pretty closely, yesterday was the most calm, most stable that Kanye had been acting. Didn't lash out on Twitter or anywhere else. So Dave Chappelle seems to have been a calming influence on Kanye West. But again, the people who are around him are worried that Kanye West is in the midst of a downward spiral. And if he doesn't get help, it is going to end badly for him.
Oh.
I understand the medication and dulling your senses, but my goodness,
that's worrisome. Has Dave Chappelle said anything yet?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. And it was we have some of this on video, and it was a little strange. Like Dave had just got there, and Kanye says, "Tell me a joke, make me laugh now." And it was a little strange. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know Kanye West, but I've been around him a little bit because he came into our TMZ offices and he had that big incident, when he made the comments about slavery. And I remember when Kanye got there, he was walking around talking to everybody, and he was as calm and as nice as could be, asking about people's sneakers and just having regular conversations like a regular person would. And then 10 minutes later, snapped. And I got a look that day of just how his mind can work and how quickly things can be great and then really take a turn for the worse very, very shortly after. So look, he has his issues, and he's such a genius when it comes to music and fashion, and people just hope that he gets help so he can still be a genius, but also not be hurting himself or other people.
Right.
Do you know, Mike, just quickly, too, they announced the campaign for presidency, but then it seemed like 2 days later they said, oh, no, it's canceled. Is it back on again, or is it still canceled?
Yeah, it's on. I know there was a lot of talk about that, Jeremy, but he actually filed the 2 forms that he needed to file with the Election Commission. He has been really fighting to get on ballots in different states because he is at or past the deadline in a lot of these states to actually have his name on the ballot, as opposed to somebody having to write in Kanye West. So he has been fighting. He had the campaign event on Sunday. a lot has happened since then. It'll be interesting to see if he has any more campaign events. But from what I've been told, as we sit here right now, the plan is to, yes, he will go on with the campaign. He will have other campaign events.
Wow.
Wait, I'm sorry, just real quick. I know we've got more to talk about. I thought we were talking about he was going to run for 4 years from now.
No,
You're saying now.
Now.
He's running now. Oh, my.
He is running now,
okay.
right. Well, the plan had always been like 2024. He's friends with Donald Trump, or was friends with Donald Trump, and nobody expected this close to the election, 100 days from the election, that he would run. But he made the decision somehow, some way, and yes, it's this year, 2020.
Okay, got you.
All right, I know we're going to move on to Tamar Braxton. I watched the Braxtons. I know Tamar. This is really unsettling.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so Tamar Braxton apparently tried to take her own life last week. She was staying at a hotel in downtown LA, the Ritz-Carlton, with her boyfriend, David. And David called 911, said that Tamar was unconscious. Rescuers rushed over to the hospital, found her unconscious, were luckily able to get her to the hospital where she was, she's in stable condition. When David was on the phone, in addition to him saying that she had alcohol, she had consumed alcohol and had taken some medication for depression and anxiety, he also told the 911 operator that she had been very upset with the executives at WeTV, which have her new show, Get Your Life. And he said that he straight up told the 911 operator that she had been upset over that. Well, we talked to different people in Tamar's camp, people who are close to her family, and they are very suspicious of her boyfriend. They think that he has been a really bad influence on her. They believe that he has these wild emotional swings, and he is affecting, her emotional well-being. So they believe that day he actually saw the pilot to their new TV show and didn't like the way he was portrayed, and then expressed that to Tamar, who then became upset, was drinking, and then got herself into a really bad situation. So while they're not denying that Tamar is responsible for her own actions, they believe that her boyfriend David is having a really negative influence on her, and they think that had he not been there, had he not watched the show and expressed his frustration, that none of this would have happened. And Tamar could have lost her life last week. Thankfully, she didn't, and the medical people got to her in time. But that's a dicey situation, and her family, another one that the family is really worried about.
Right, very tragic. Okay, and you've got one more story for us?
Yes, a little bit happier here. So J-Lo is trying to enjoy her summer at the Hamptons, and she had some friends, and they took some dune buggies, and they went to the beach. But I guess what J-Lo didn't know is even when you're Jennifer Lopez, you can't just do whatever you want, and she actually needed permits to ride the dune buggies where she was riding them. So J-Lo's car, J-Lo's buggy got towed.
What?
You would think, yeah,
you gotta follow the
rules. Took them all away.
You gotta follow the rules, right,
so
Michael?
Alex Rodriguez.
That's right.
Michael, I love that. I tell you, I've
right.
seen J-Lo in person, Michael, and I'm not kidding you. She glows. Like, she is that beautiful in person.
Right. So it's shocking that they would, you would think when the parking attendant or the tow truck guy got up there and saw it was J-Lo, he might give her a pass because he's so starstruck by this person. But nope.
Can I say I respect him for doing that?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Follow the line.
That's right.
You're a citizen.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Michael.
It's always great to see you. Pet olive
You
for
too.
us.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
You can catch TMZ weekdays at 5 p.m. Right here on Fox, and TMZ Live weeknights at 12:30 a.m. And you got to watch it. I like watching it because now that I know Michael, I'm like, oh, we're friends.
I know. It's so cool.
I love TMZ. All right. Don't go anywhere. So much more fun on Ozarks Fox AM right after this.
That's a beautiful kitty. Now, his other kitty looks just like that one?
Yeah, and he was on the floor. You can see his tail
Oh,
wagging. It was
what's
so
his
cute.
name?